Welcome to the InitiativeOne Leadership Podcast, where we work with leaders to maximize their impact and to transform their lives. Hello, my name is Dr. Fred Johnson. I am the founder here at InitiativeOne. And we thank you for taking the time and the effort to join with us and to participate with us as a listener to our podcast. I'm delighted to welcome my friend, my colleague, as our guest today, Dr. Stephen Peters. He's calling in from the Atlanta area. And Stephen, we are absolutely delighted to have you on our show today. Welcome.
Thank you, Fred. It's so wonderful to be with you, especially after sitting in and listening and being inspired by the think tank this morning. What an amazing way to end the week.
Well, thank you, brother. You're always so kind. Stephen, as well as his partner and wife, Dr. Angela Peters, she can carry her own water, believe me. We are so privileged that they have come as a dynamic duo and they have joined our team, and they are scaling, with the help of our team here, our work all around the country in public education. Stephen, could you talk about a couple of things? What are you finding out there as you work every week with very complex situations? If you would describe broadly, what are you finding out there right now in our school systems? And number two, why are you with us, and why are you so excited these days about what you're doing?
Wow, those are three loaded questions. and I have answers to all three.
Okay.
One, what we're seeing now on the front lines of this work, both restore hope to my spirit that better days are ahead, and at the same time frightens me, because I truly believe that in the next 2 to 3 years, education as we've known it in the past will disappear from in front of us. We have to now be future ready now. We are dealing with so many complexities that leaders not only know they need help, they are literally asking for it. And so I'm excited because my phone rings every day, and superintendents and school board members and principals and teachers, even students, are really wanting to have skin in this game. And it excites me because I believe that we have many opportunities in the presence of many challenges. I like to tell folks in education that we are faced with obstacles brilliantly we're faced with opportunities brilliantly disguised as challenges. And so I believe that we have the ability, the wisdom, and the skill sets to help so many people advance the work. And lastly, what I'm finding is people are realizing that in spite of all of those challenges, the work still has to be done. And the reason I'm with you, I'll give you four: Kobe, Shaq, the Lakers; Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, the Bulls; Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, the Heat; and now Jokic and Jamal Murray, the Nuggets. Mm. They're all individually just great athletes, but together there's a synergistic effort in order to win championships. And I believe with InitiativeOne that we're going to be repeat champions, that one won't be enough, that we will continue to scale this work and scaffold, and we will capture, inspire, and lead leaders to different levels. Mm.
So I've got a really penetrating question. Am I Shaq or am I Kobe?
We'll talk about that after the series.
So Stephen, you're the author of two best-selling books. You are a speaker that is on the road every week. You're doing deep dive work with educational leaders around the country, and you join forces with us. You and I are having a really fun experience right now. We're writing a book together. Could you talk about that and why we are so excited and what you're finding out there in terms of how people are responding?
Yeah, I'm really excited, Fred, to join forces and pens as we put thoughts and experiences on paper. Um, the book, Leadership Transformation from A to Z, is conceptually framed in a way that leaders are not interested any longer in pedagogy to the degree that it is the driving force behind their work. Many are responding to the call to really look deep into themselves. Who are you? And at the end of the day, I think we all are faced with being worthy of our own approval. And InitiativeOne is the first experience that I have had as a leader. And I've been at this work for 42 years that requires, challenges, empowers leaders to really, really look inward. And I'm excited about the work because I believe that that is the recalibration that leaders need right now. It's not about blaming teachers for poor test scores. It's not about blaming the hiring process and thinking that, wow, we just can't get high quality educators around us. It's about looking at ourselves and realizing that every level of leadership requires a different version of the leader. And so Leadership Transformation from A to Z, the book that you and I are writing, starts at the alphabet A and ends at Z. And in between, we're asking leaders to think their way through the complexity. I've often said that we have some really smart folks in education, but we don't think. And this book is going to really challenge leaders to be introspective to the degree that not only they're reading what you and I are writing, but the questions are going to take them on a deeper dive into what is your A, what is your B, what is your C, and what about those around you? Have you asked them what theirs are? We're looking at core values and beliefs. We're looking at underlying belief systems. We're looking at the question that I think every school district has to ask, and that is, what is your standard? And because you know your standard, why do you accept anything less than that standard? And so I know it's going to help so many people as we field test this around the country. The question that I'm getting after my speeches and trainings, can I order it now? And so people are excited. We'll have many who will pre-order as soon as we release that pre-order date. And this is a book. This is my sixth book. And I have to tell you that I'm looking forward to reading it over and over in its entirety, because you are bringing a lens that I don't have, and I'm bringing a lens that you don't have. And together, we definitely mark that word on Google. If you look it up, synergy. The efforts of more than one far outweigh the efforts of one. So I'm beyond excited about this. I wake up every morning with a pad beside on my nightstand. It's full of notes. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I may wake up and grab my pen. And so educators and leaders, not just educational leaders, but leaders, whether you're leading a school district, a school, or a hospital, a corporate company or agency, leadership is influence. And you and I are going to influence people to think deeper, and to really feel that level of effectiveness that matches the standard that they have for their companies, their schools, or agencies.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Stephen. Let me ask you this. There are leaders out there who may be feeling overwhelmed, may be hopeless with all of the politics that superintendents have to deal with today. Parents who are not at their best in terms of dialoguing over disagreements. I mean, today's environment is testing educational leaders, all leaders, like we've never seen it in our lives. And yet, in our work, we're getting some pretty amazing, surprised people as they're finding that there is a systematic response out there, such as in our work, that can be a game changer. You've told me about a couple of people who have already begun to work with us. Could you share a couple of those superintendents' response and what they're finding? What I know is superintendents really listen only to other superintendents when they're trying to figure out, how do I get better? What have you heard from some of these superintendents around the country?
I tell you what, let me share what comes directly from me first, from a superintendent's perspective. If I had been involved with or exposed to the InitiativeOne transformation process when I was a principal, and certainly when I was a superintendent up until 2.5 years ago, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation, because I'd probably be the U.S. Secretary of Education, because it is that empowering. It gives you a roadmap. And whenever you have a roadmap, you have a navigation system to whatever residence or business you want to travel to. And I see the leadership transformation process at InitiativeOne being my navigation system as a leader. And so I'm hearing that same sentiment from leaders that I have introduced to InitiativeOne and the process. And so excited, at the end of the month, I'll have 100+ superintendents in my audience. And then a month later, I'll have another 100+ superintendents. And it gives us an opportunity to not only introduce a process, but an operating system that is better aligned to the realities they face in their work every day. I find that to be one of the most frustrating elements or variables in the work, on the front lines of the work. And that is that school districts are still operating a system that is no longer aligned to the realities their children face, or their teachers face, or you mentioned the parents that are bringing these children up in these households the best they can. And so it's an empowering process that really gives leaders tools and strategies, not only to move from point A to point B, but once you get to B, then you can sustain your work over time. And you and I both know, as leaders doing this work for such a long time, the hardest thing to do is not to improve. The hardest thing to do is to sustain that improvement over time. And I think that InitiativeOne has that secret sauce that is not a drive-by formula for improvement, but it is an empowering process for people to really understand that I am producing the best leadership version of myself possible, and it feels really good.
Well, it feels really good to have you and Angela as team members at InitiativeOne. We are so honored. And I want to thank you for the time that you've given. Stephen, what action plans or call to action would you give some of your colleagues who are listening to this, trying to figure out what's the next step for me to help the district that I'm leading? Any calls to action that you would give to them regarding how to become familiar with us?
Yeah, number one is we can only give what we're full of. And so we need to take stock of what we're full of. School districts now need leaders with the right energy. And if you don't bring that positive energy to the workplace or the job, people don't want to follow you. We believe that you need to simplify the complexities of this work as much as possible. And I think coming to Initiative One, the process in and of itself simplifies complexities to the degree that not only are you, the leader, feeling empowered and inspired, but you feel like you have a new toolkit to operate in the space that's needed. Leaders right now are finding it difficult to navigate the new space and era of leadership. Children today are different from those that sat next to us. Teachers are overwhelmed and underpaid. And school leaders are finding now that they can no longer blame teachers for the broken system that they still have them operating under. And so developing trusted relationships is the number one and key element to school transformation, school district transformation. And how do you do that? You begin with yourself, the leader. And I think the best place to do that is to really understand the dynamics of how Initiative One operates with superintendents and principals and teachers. And now we are in talks about scaling that work, scaffolding it down to student leadership, where there is sideways accountability at the top and sideways accountability in classrooms, hallways, cafeterias, auditoriums. That is the synergistic approach where everyone is 100% accountable and responsible for what we produce. Again, the standard.
And that's when the real work begins to affect society. And we're excited about that. For those of you who want to explore a relationship with us, we'd invite you to go to our website, InitiativeOne.com. Send us an email at info@initiativeone.com and say, I'd like to talk with you all. Join one of our complimentary think tanks that happens either the first or second week of every Friday morning, monthly. It's attended by hundreds and hundreds of people around the country who have found real value. We'd love to have you join us as our guest. If you've enjoyed this, share it. Hit your like button. We're just delighted that you have joined us for this team. And we wish you well in your future endeavors as a leaders. And Stephen, once again, thank you for joining us and being on our show today.
It's an honor and a pleasure to work with you.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. You all take care. Have a great day.